Guys, we're back tonight. I'm actually just going to take you through a walkthrough of this haunted jail here and show you some of the history, some of the paranormal, and yeah, show you around a little bit different than what I normally do. So, go this way. So we'll walk back through here. This will take you to the other side of the cells. Over there is also a door, but it's like a real heavy door, so I usually go back through this way. Right here, this first cell that we're going to get on is, this would have been the drunk tank. That's where they would have kept people that came in here intoxicated. They wanted to keep away from the general population, so there wasn't any fights or any crazy stuff like that. So that's where they would have stayed. Actually, I had a friend of mine that was actually in here when he was 19 years old. So, and this jail was actually open until 1995, 1879 to 1995. So he was in here. He decided to go out and do some drinking when he was 19 years old, and they didn't like it, so he had to spend 30 days in here. But he raised all kind of ruckus in here, is what he told me. So I don't know. I'd like to bring him in here for ghost hunts sometimes, see if anybody talks to him. And back here around the corner, this area right here, this would have been a cell at one time until they got running water in this place. And then that turned into the shower room, basically. We had the shower right here. But this would have been a cell at one time. And then come through here, we're in the middle of the cells. We have two cells on each side here. And then up here. Over here is actually where they would have had the trays go through, actual metal trays here that people would have ate on. They actually slide through from the kitchen over that way, through that wall. You used to have TVs up here, all that good stuff. Right here, we're actually one of the few jails that actually have the rotating doors. It's super heavy, they do open though. But yeah, one of the turnstile ways to get in and out. And then back this way, that's where they would play cards and all that, you know, all that good stuff. As far as paranormal back here in the cells, we've had everything from disembodied voices to banging to knocking to you name it, pretty much everything. What was weird, I was in here maybe 2 weeks ago with a group that was in here for doing an overnight paranormal investigation. And it sounded like a muffled old-time ring right here by this phone, which is pretty insane because that phone's not wired up to anything. I mean, it shouldn't make any kind of noise. So that was pretty interesting. Over in this cell right here, we had a well-known prisoner in here. Well known to the jail anyway. 1932, we had a guy named James Barrett that was actually a prisoner here. He was part of the Barrett gang, Chicago Heights gang, ties with Dillinger. He was in here, he was actually robbing banks with Ira Barton, which was sheriff at the time. So we get a lot of stuff here from him. We believe anyway. Can't always say 100% who you're talking to, but we feel like it's him. He was getting ready to go to court. Like I said, that was 1932. He was getting ready to go to court. He was getting ready to rat out a couple other guys so he could get a lesser sentence. And they found him hanged in there. They say suicide. I don't know that I believe that so much just because he was in with the sheriff and some of the stuff that we've got through investigating this place. So yeah, that would have been James' son. And a lot of these other ones, I'm not sure everybody else that's been in here because we had people here for years. But we'll go back around this way. So out this way, this would have been the dispatch and intake area right in this room here. We'll go up here. Part of this is the women's area up here. The women's, they had more of a dorm style. So in here would be the women's area, and it would be more of a dorm style area. I think the restroom or like the bath toilet area, I guess would have been back here where the floor is kind of jacked up. This down here, we've got some people have put some kid stuff down here. We did find out in late 1800s, early 1900s, basically if a kid didn't have, if the mother didn't have anywhere for the kids to go, then they would actually been here with their mom, which is pretty insane to me. But we just found that out not too long ago. But we will go in this way. This would actually be a backup cell area. You can see where they used to have bars here. And this actually was interrogation toward the end of the life of the jail, which was 1995. There's some, you can see where some inmates ladies have wrote on the wall on different things here. But we found out here, I think maybe a year or so ago, found out about a gal named Ray Krause that lived here. She was in here as an inmate in 1904. She actually was married to a local druggist that lived down in what is now Kepler Funeral Home. So she paid the paper boy to go to the other drugstore, pick up strychnine for her, and then she poisoned her stepmother. So she died. She was in here as an inmate for about a month in 1904. We have pictures, which I'll put up in the video. We have a picture of the outside of this building in 1904 that's got a big X on the outside, the room that she was held in. She was held in this room. She got 20 years. She got sent to Indiana, but she got 20 years and was actually pardoned for the death of that girl, which is crazy to me. And then we really couldn't find out any information on her after that. So also did find out that her first husband mysteriously died too. So not sure if she was like a black widow or something like that or what. So we'll go in here. I'll show you this attic. So we'll go in here. Basically, this is the attic above the jail cell. This room, I'm not really sure exactly what they did in it. I know it was used for storage at one time. I think part of this is for heating and different things like that. We have had weird paranormal activity in this place, in this particular room. Paranormal Nightmare was in here with Omar Gosh, and Sean was doing it alone in this room, and I know he got a bunch of weird stuff on the Alone series that Omar put out. I was actually in here, I think it was a week or two ago, and I was giving a guy an interview here for his YouTube channel, Chandler Haunts, and he was over here filming me and I was talking or whatever. We had the door closed because sometimes we get bats in here. I didn't want any bats to get out in the rest of the jail or whatever. The door, that heavy wooden door is closed all the way, and it literally opens up, like pushes open with this loud creaking. Doesn't even really normally make a creaking sound like that. Pushes open like somebody just pushed it open on us, which is pretty crazy video. So we'll walk around here and I'll show you a little bit in this room in here. So we'll come back around this way. What the hell was that? How is it pulling shut right now? There's no draft or anything in here. That door is literally just going shut. Can you shut it all the way? That's crazy. So over here you can see how the bricks are. These are really thick walls here. And like I said, we are above the jail cell portion right now. I think that was used for heating. Hopefully there's not any bats in here today. But walk around this way. And there's people that's had a lot of different paranormal activity in here. I think my friends basically use this as storage. So we'll go out here and actually show you this outside area first before we go down to the sheriff's area. So basically, when we look up here, which I'm going to take you in the other attic on the other side in the residential area, upstairs there is a place that they could actually do backup executions. And we don't have any of the records of whether they did 1 or 100 of them. We're not sure exactly. I'm assuming they probably did some, but I can't say a specific number or anything like that. This floor was originally not actually like that. You can see where the lines were. It would have been open right here. So that's where they would have dropped down. So we'll go down here to the sheriff's area and I'll show you around there a little bit. And actually that right there, that's the entrance when you come in. That's where people would have talked, you know, inmates would have talked to their loved ones and all that stuff right there. Now this room right here, this would have actually been the sheriff's office. Like I said, the sheriff was here from 1879 to 1995. Got a list of all the sheriffs here. Actually, this list though has from 1839 on, before the jail was actually in this location. One of the key sheriffs that was actually in here, and was actually the first sheriff in here, was John Saxton. He was the first sheriff in the location. The weird thing is about it, he actually lived in the Monroe House, Mysterious Monroe House, Monroe Demon House. People call it different things. That's literally across the street. He housed prisoners in there in the basement. When this was built, he was actually the first sheriff in here. So that's it's kind of a weird connection, I guess. There's another sheriff in here actually, 1949, there was a sheriff in here named Sheriff Updegraft. Actually went out on a domestic. He would have lived here at the time, but he went out on a domestic to a guy's house twice that night. And the second time the guy shot him, he died a few days later from his injuries. So he would have actually lived here at the time. I believe his wife's name was Agatha. I'm pretty sure that's what somebody told me yesterday. And then in 1977, Howard McCollum lived here. He was sheriff at the time. He passed away of cancer. Not sure if he was in here at the time or if he was in a hospital, or not 100% on that one. But then they appointed Ed Townsend sheriff. So they appointed Ed sheriff, and 4 days after he was appointed sheriff, he actually passed away from a massive heart attack in this office. And then the sheriffs didn't live here anymore, even though it was open till 95. So probably, I'm assuming the wives or whatever was like, nah, there's too many. I'm assuming that's what happened anyway. But we do get a lot of weird stuff in this particular room. We've heard a lot of stuff in this room, which isn't surprising. And then over here, I didn't show you this when we came in here. That right there is Ira Barton. And he actually was the sheriff that was in with James Barrett, the one that I showed you the cell in. They were robbing banks. That was in 1932. And then right here, that's actually a picture of James Barrett. That's the only picture that we have of James Barrett from 32, and that's the one that they found hanged in the cell. So, but yeah, got some interesting stories with those guys. I'll show you this area. This would have been the residential area for the sheriff and his family. And this area here, I've literally heard stuff walking up here. Actually, it sounds like a human walking up these stairs. I mean, I've heard it numerous times, like somebody walking up here. We get a lot of paranormal stuff here. So, we'll go up here. This would have been the sheriff's bedroom. So, like I said, my friends bought the place here. They bought this place in 1996 because it was going to get torn down. They bought the place for historical reasons, not for any kind of paranormal stuff or anything like that. In fact, he said he didn't hear anything until, I think he moved in like 2000 or something like that, and he didn't hear anything for a couple years after he lived here, or at least he didn't think he heard anything. He said one night he was in here though and saw a man literally walk through the door over there, come over here. His bed was here until they moved out a couple years ago. Walked over here, walked to the end of his bed and kind of smiled at him. And he said the guy had like black slacks and white t-shirt on or whatever. And he was kind of weirded out by it because he said then the guy just went out the door basically. He was weirded out by it because he thought people would think he was nuts or something, because it's not like nowadays paranormal, everybody and their brother's got a show, you know. He talked to a local historian about it though, and the guy said he pretty much described Ed Townsend. Ed's the one that died from the massive heart attack in the office down there, so not surprising. But we do get a lot of paranormal stuff in this particular room. But I mean, I was sheriff in his wife's room for years. So, and that's the restroom area there. And then actually this door over here, so this door right here, in the last 3 years, I've literally seen that door close like 7 times. That's happened during tours, it's happened during investigations, completely closed. So, kind of crazy. So we'll go out this way. This room right here, this actually would have been the kids and the grandkids room is what this would have been here. And as far as paranormal stuff in this room, it seems like a lot of the girls that come in here to investigate and stuff get a lot of stuff with children, or what we believe is children's spirits. It seems like a lot of the ladies do get that stuff. That's why you see the dolls and everything here, but I mean, it was the kids' room. We've had other incidents in here too also. I've got a video from when somebody was in here in 2021, and we literally seen something on the video. You can see something poking its head out right here, like super fast. And that was in 2021, so that was pretty crazy. One of the crazier videos I've seen in this place. But I'll show you up here in the attic. I'll show you around a little bit here. So this area here, this would have been actually where they could do backup executions. A part of the wood's original, part of it's not. We had a fire up here, so you can see where part of that's been burned. There's a rope over there, but that is not the original rope. But they would have dropped them down over here. We've got boards down there now, so people can't fall through the floor or anything like that right here. But yeah, we've had some crazy stories, crazy stuff that's actually happened to me personally up here. We actually left a recorder here one night for like 20 minutes. Literally went out to the store, came back. On the recorder, you could hear a step, and then you heard what sounded like somebody touching the top of the windscreen on the microphone. And then you heard what sounded like a little girl humming, like humming a song or something. Couldn't make it out. There was nobody here, there was nobody outside, it was later. But then you heard another step, and then it sounded like a little kid saying, "No, no, no." That was crazy. That was 20 minutes of leaving a recorder up here one day. That's been, I don't know, maybe a year and a half or so ago. The other thing that happened to us not too long ago, because I do paranormal investigation, so I've been doing this for years, but we were doing an Estes over here, and I was sitting right here, the other person, Casey, was over there under Estes, and I was just asking general questions. Had that door closed down there. Asking general questions, you know, was there anybody here, you know, the kind of generic paranormal questions or whatever. And she said, "Behind you." And I said, "Oh, you're behind me?" And she said, ready? And I was like, yeah, I'm ready. That door literally opened up, creaked open all the way down there. That door is hard to open up, period. So that actually happened during a live on TikTok. I think it was last year sometime. So we've had crazy stuff in this attic, but I guess the kids would probably played here. I mean, we played in attics and stuff when I was a kid, so I would think the kids, you know, they lived here for years, they would be playing up here and stuff, even though they did other stuff up here. Kind of crazy though, but we will go downstairs and I'll show you some of that creepy area. We'll walk down this way. So we'll go on this way. This room right here, this would have been the actual kitchen. The sheriff, you know, sheriff and his family lived here. And back here is actually where they would have pushed the food through to the inmates, right back in here. And so from 1879 to 1977, the wife would have lived here. The inmates would have probably been eating pretty well because they would have been eating whatever the family was eating for the night. After that, it was probably, you know, some of the deputies and all that stuff were getting them food or whatever. But and then this gal over here, we've got a mannequin over here. They named her Miss Quinn. Miss Quinn. She's been up here for a couple years. We actually put her together a couple years ago, and she's never fell or anything. But we were in here changing trash, I don't know, a few months back. Left, and then we came back the next night. We were going to do some investigation, and actually she's laid across the floor right here. She's laid all across the floor right there, heads off, everything. And I'm just like, what the heck? So we went back on the Wise cam footage the night before. 15 minutes after we left, you could see the top of her body, because it's like two parts. You could see the top of her body go like that and went down, like something just like twisted her and she went down. So that's the only time she's ever fell. So that was kind of interesting. And then I'll show you in here. This is actually would have been the sheriff's living room. Now, not all this stuff is original to the actual building because my friends did live here forever, and I don't know exactly all the stuff that was original to the place. But yeah, we've even had paranormal activity in here. I mean, like, just we'll be in here just like having normal conversations. I've heard disembodied voices in here. After, I mean, we weren't even hunting at the time. Like 2:30 in the morning, we heard a lady in here plain as day. Other people have seen these black, I don't know what they are, like a black shadow, like that tall. There's people that think they're like pug wedgies or elementals or something like that come from the ground. I don't know. You know, I can't say what it is, but there's people that's seen them in here, actually over here, and then somebody saw it above the door one time, and numerous places throughout the house too. Not sure what that is, but yeah, this would have been, like I said, this would have been the living room for the sheriff. So we'll go down to the creepy part now and take you guys down to what I call Creep Zone, which is the basement solitary area. So we'll go down here and we'll show you this creepy basement area. Now this takes you back into the one of the solitary areas right here. So this room right here, this would have been a big solitary area. The floor's been taken out where they did some work on it, but this whole room here would have been like a big solitary, one of the solitary areas here. And we've had a lot of weird activity down here too, that's for sure. Go back this way. Now this area right here, that just leads you out to the street, that's locked off here. I guess they would have brought inmates in here sometimes when they didn't want to take them through the upstairs. They could bring them down through this way. There's some original doors actually right here too, which is cool because, I mean, these must have been guys. I'm gonna assume this was a guy's door, but this would have been originals, some of the original cell doors and stuff where you can see the names of folks carved on them and everything. But go back to this area here. It starts getting creepier. Definitely starts getting creepier. So back in this area, this is kind of in between the two solitary areas. Yeah, I mean, it basically looks like a horror movie, you know. In fact, we did do a horror movie here. But there's some old cuffs right here. I've seen those things swinging occasionally. And then this area back in here, that just takes you to the back. This is the back of the solitary cell that I showed you from the other side. Just another way to get in it. Like I said, there's a bunch of pipes and stuff in the way now. But we'll go back around this way. And this is the part that I call creep zone, just because you're getting deeper in these dungeon area. We'll go back in here. Now this is all limestone and quartz in here. All limestone and quartz, which they say holds energy and stuff. Up in here, you can see there's a hole there. There's another one down here and another one down there. There's 3 of them. So basically they go into behind these walls. They're blocked in now from the other side. They actually were solitary. And there's 3 more on the other side too. There's only one of them that's open that you can actually see still. But it's pretty freaking creepy in this place. We get a lot of weird activity in here, for sure. So right under here, where I'm at right now, this would have been, we're right underneath the jail cells. So this is like the walk area. The cells would be over on this side. You can see the mechanisms of them right here. So that's the tire mechanisms for the cells. And then I believe they had some kind of heater right around in here, because they used to have a big boiler in here that got removed out. We've had paranormal stuff down here for sure. I've had some crazy pictures and different things in here. Maybe I can post one up because I might put it in a video. There was something that I captured. I think that was in 2021 also. I can't describe it. It looks like basically an X-ray. There was a gal standing in front of me and I took this picture when this REM pod went off, and it literally looked like an X-ray of a leg standing like right where that lady's at, which is kind of crazy because I've never had a picture like that. Go back around this way, and that's that vent area right there that we walked over when we were walking in through the side of the cells. Now this is the only one that's open right here. There's 6 of those in here. There's 6 of them in here, so that there would be 6 solitary cells in here. This is the only one that's cut open. And I think after a certain time frame, they made them block them in, is what I was told, so they couldn't have them anymore. But you can see when you get over here that you have the same holes like you did over on the other side. There's 1, 2, and then the third one down here. So yeah, they've got rooms in them that, you know, we've never been in. I suppose you could take some kind of camera and run it down in there and see like that, but we haven't did that. And then this over here, that just opens up to the room that we were just in the middle. But yeah, we get a lot of crazy stuff down here. But we'll probably turn around and go back out there and I'll tell you some other stuff. So there was a story I was going to tell you here. There was an inmate here in 1932 named John Moore. We actually found out about John Moore, I think it was last year. He was in here actually for murdering his aunt and uncle in 32. And I'm going to put the picture up here on the video of John Moore, because it's just a scary looking image of him. It looks, I don't know, it just looks creepy. It looks really creepy. And he was sent to Michigan City, 1933. He was sent up there. He was actually executed in Michigan City in 1933. But he would have been held here. And yeah, it's just one of those inmates that is one of the darker inmates, because I think a lot of people are under the impression, oh, you know, it's a small jail, we didn't have bad inmates. Man, you had everything here. You had murderers here, you had normal stuff here, normal people in here for minor stuff. But yeah, it's pretty crazy, and John Moore's one of those cases for sure. So there was a story also I was going to tell you here, I think it was in 2021 or 2022, I can't remember the year. Omar Gosh, he was filming an Alone series here, and me and his editor at the time was actually back here setting up some cameras back in the back area here. Well, we also had a REM pod set up out here in this area, right outside the doorway. And like I said, we weren't investigating yet. We were just setting up for Paranormal Nightmare. Sean was going to be in here by himself that night. So we were just setting up equipment for that. Well, he ran into this on the other side. And I mean, he hit it so hard that he went down. He literally went down, was holding his head, moaning, and I'm like, what the hell? The crazy thing is, REM pod starts going off right outside here when that happened, when he got injured. And I'm like, I want to film this, but I can't because I didn't know how bad he was. Luckily, he just had a big goose egg on his head and a little bit of scuffed up, but yeah, it's crazy. It literally dropped him right there and the REM pod goes off, so that's just kind of a weird story. We'll go over this way. I'll show you this room that was used as an evidence room. And there's some original evidence in here. Some of these things are, you know, criminal mischief and all that stuff. There's some antiques and different things that were held in here too, but this would have been an evidence room. This is where they would have kept the drugs and guns and all that kind of crazy stuff. But and then I'm going to take you out here and show you this other area and a story about this area. So over here, this happened, I guess, it was probably before I actually started doing tours here 7 years ago. That was sealed off. There was some water on top of it, and so my friend cut open the floor to see where the water was coming from, and then there wasn't any water in that hole, which is pretty weird. There's a little bit of water in there now. But we've had people actually come in here that actually believe that it's some kind of portal or something, which I'm not saying it is or isn't. I don't know a lot about that kind of stuff, but I mean, people say that stuff can come in and out of portals, which, you know, maybe it is. But there's people that said they will not come back to this location anymore because of that. I've had friends here that are sensitive to stuff, that feel stuff over by there. I actually had some weird stuff about a week or so ago. I was in here filming with a friend of mine, and we had some weird stuff down around here. And actually, when I first started doing investigating on this property, we didn't really get a whole hell of a lot. I mean, that's been over 10 years ago probably. I didn't get very much at all. It was like quiet. So nowadays it's like crazy here to me. So I don't know if it's just because I've been coming here for so many years, or if it's because of something like that. Not sure the reason, but it's a good place to go ghost hunting. If anybody's into ghost hunting, come and check out the property. I'll probably be the one to give you a tour here. So, but I think that's gonna be it, guys. Talk to you on the next.